what does it actually mean to invest in yourself? I want to give you my example of my journey so that you can understand because I think it's an amazing example. So the first business I ever run is music production. So in 2018, 2017, I started producing and like making beats. There's something on YouTube called like a type beat. So if you go on YouTube and you write freestyle type beat, you're gonna get like many instrumentals. And so I was doing that, and from that I went to a marketing agency within like 5 years, and everything changed. So basically, I was doing the same thing. What looked very different, but it's actually the same thing. But I was paid 10 times more. So let me explain. I basically started by just making music, and then I thought, okay, if I make music, I upload on YouTube. Like, what can I do for my instrumental to be picked up by more people? So in the beginning, again, this type beat business model is that you select the tag, like the artist tag, so that if someone wants to make a song like Drake, they can whatever write Drake type beat, right? So I was making a certain type of music that, in my opinion, sounded like Drake type beat, but more like happy. And so what I did is that I thought to myself, okay, if I take this and I write K-pop instead, it's gonna make a difference. And yes, it made a massive difference. And so I went from a no-name producer to one of the, at a time, top like K-pop producers online. So I was actually making like a lot more money, right? And then at that point, I thought to myself, okay, whenever someone buys my instrumental, they give me their email. And so I found this app where you can take people's emails and send them emails. And I thought, okay, sure, why not? So when someone bought from me, I would send them an email saying, hey, thank you for buying. And then I thought, okay, if I can send them this email, what if I can schedule maybe multiple emails? And then I basically ended up learning email marketing, right? So I know, okay, when someone buys, they get in the funnel, this thing happens. And bear in mind that in that industry, like, we're talking like small money. Maybe I was making 2K in the beginning, and then 3K, and then 10K, whatever. But every time I added a skill, I was making like a little bit more money. And at that point, I'm doing email marketing, right? So from that point, I thought, what if I can pay some social media platform to get emails? And then I learned ads. So I had a lead magnet where people would give me their email, and I would send them some instrumentals. I thought, okay, I have this skill now. Interesting. And then at that point, I thought, okay, these emails work very well, but is there a way I can make the same email work more? And then I found copywriting. And at that point, I was running this business, this music business, but I didn't necessarily want to continue because I didn't like the numbers or whatever reason. And then I went to all my music friends and they asked me about, for example, email marketing, right? And I thought, okay, what about you give me, I don't know, $500 and I do your email funnel? And many people said yes. And then automatically from that place, I had an email marketing agency. And what I'm trying to illustrate here is like I'm trying to explain that when you try to learn without having like a test subject, you cannot learn. Because let's say I read a book about management, and it says that, okay, for people to be motivated, they need to have incentives. And you don't have anyone to test this with, then you think, oh, I understand. But then when you have a real person in your team and you want to motivate them, for example, a salesperson, you tell them, okay, you got to cut your salary and increase your commission, and you think that it's good, but then they start like selling very aggressively, and actually it's like very negative for your business, and then you learn a lesson. And so if you learn as you apply, you actually make more money, in my opinion, and you will really learn. But the problem is that we often see knowledge, in my opinion, as like very black and white. Like, for example, in school, they tell you, okay, if you take Spanish class, you cannot take a physics class, and then you have to decide, okay, do I want to be language major or STEM major and all of this. And so I think a lot of people never get a chance to actually implement what they learn because they focus, in my opinion, way too much on like what business to run. It's like in the beginning, I think I was kind of stupid enough to just start like whatever business. In that case, it was music, which then allowed me to slowly learn all of these things, like Like I said, I learned like YouTube views and thumbnails, all of that. I learned email marketing. I learned ads, funnels, copywriting, and then at the end of that cycle, when I learned all of these small things, I thought, what if I actually, instead of doing music, I did all of these things for people? And then something crazy happened. Like some people that would make were making more money. They paid me like a lot of money to do all of these things that I was doing for myself. Because when you learn a skill, you think that, for example, running like ads funnel for a small company spending $500 a day is very different from spending 10K a day. But fundamentally, it's actually not very different. Like I thought that it was different, but it really isn't. Actually, I would say at the 10K it's even easier because you have more budget, and so you can test things faster and come to the truth faster. So what I'm trying to say is that if you take knowledge and then you start literally, for example, like any business, and then every single day, you don't, in my opinion, don't focus too much on like how much money you're making, but you focus rather on the small scale. So like if your business makes like $1,000 and then you learn email marketing and you make 1.5K, like you're focusing on this like percentage increase, in my opinion. That's what you should focus on, because by learning that email marketing at that small scale, the day that you have something bigger in your hands, you will make more money and you will actually have the opportunity to use that skill properly. But the problem is that if you don't learn it at a small scale or whatever skill you have in front of you, like you will actually never learn the skill to begin with. So in my opinion, the best way to invest in yourself is to have a dummy. So like a business that is kind of like a lab rat, and then implement whatever you can. Like for example, what I'm doing here with this YouTube channel is that I'm investing in my ability to speak and convey ideas to people, because I'm very good at doing it in a written form, but when it comes to speaking and doing in video, I'm like not as good. So now I'm doing this, so it might go somewhere or it may not go somewhere, but if I can go from 100 views per video to 1,000, then it means that I'm getting better. And if I'm getting better, it means that my skill to talk and convey ideas has improved. And so if I keep doing this over a long period of time, it's just going to be something that I can add to my skill stack. And now my total, in my opinion, my total economic value is going to increase because I can run ads, I can run email marketing. I know, for example, music. I know some e-commerce product things, and now I also know how to talk on video. And maybe if I know how to talk on video better, I can also write better ads for my clients. And so, in my opinion, like all of the skills just compound, but they compound in a way that you don't see. Also, another thing is that if you apply the skill in a small scale, and let's say you make $2,000 a month by using that skill, actually you don't really make $2,000 a month. You make that amount of money and then the same amount of money that you make later. So let's say in 10 years you somehow end up having a bigger brand and you still do email marketing. Like over the course of 10 years, you need to average every single month after you learn the skill. So if you learn the skill, let's say 100 months ago, and then on month 100, you make $100,000, it means that this skill averaged you like $1,000 a month over your lifetime. So that's why, in my opinion, all the influencers always say, okay, spend in your education because it's the best return. Like if you think about it that way, it is the best return.